Heather Oriana Petrocelli interviewing Linda Kraft Hudson on May 19th, 2015 in Portland, Oregon at Hooper Detox Center where she works. Linda, do I have permission to record you for the Carole Pope Oral History Project?
Yes, you do.
Would you please state your full name, date, and place of birth?
My full name, Linda Jo Hudson. My maiden name was Kraft, so it could be Linda Kraft Hudson. My date of birth is September 21st, 1955, and I was born in Hugo, Oklahoma.
When did your family come to Oregon?
We came to Oregon in 1965. We came up because my family wanted a better opportunity for us and us to make a better living. And my father had some relatives here. My stepfather, actually, who raised me, had some relatives here. And he came up and he got a job at the shipyards, which actually worked for us. Yeah.
I've been starting most of the interviews just kind of getting to know how people either knew Carole Pope or came to know Our New Beginnings. So,
well, it was I went there because I elected to go to alcohol and drug treatment when I was in Inverness jail. One of the many times I went to jail, and this particular time was different because while I was there in jail, I called home and I was made aware that my youngest daughter had been sexually molested by her uncle. And previously to, prior to that, I just kind of wanted to get out and continue to use alcohol and drugs and do what I do. I didn't want to go to treatment. I didn't know anything about treatment, but I just certainly didn't want to go. I didn't think that I wanted to stop using until this happened. And I had about 6 days in the hole in Inverness jail to think about this, because this is where I found out. I found this out in jail, in the hole. I was in the hole. So ironic, because the day that I went to the hole, I kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed and I didn't know why, but I was angry. I wanted to start some stuff. I just kind of wanted somebody to pick on me in jail. And the only taker I had was a sergeant. Came on at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she said, "Okay, I'm gonna rise to the occasion. I'm sending you to the hole." And that was the day before. And so the next day, since you only get 1 hour out of the hole to make a phone call and do a shower, it's a 24 hours in, 23 hours in, I called home and I found out that she had got molested the day before. And it was the day that I had woke up and didn't know what was going on. So I kind of look at that now and I go like, God, that was sort of a connection that I had with my daughter at that time. So after those 6 days being in the hole, I decided I needed to be out and I needed to be with my daughter. And I needed to be there to support her. And if that means I need to go to treatment, then so be it. I'll do what I have to do in order to get out and be with her. And so that's what I put my name on the treatment list, which they told me that it would probably be anywhere from 3 weeks to a month before I could even get in because of the wait list. And I remember a couple days later, they woke me up out of my sleep and said, Kraft, roll up, you're shipping out. And I was going to treatment. Some girl that was there was her bed. She kind of messed up or something in jail, and I got her bed. So I got to go sooner, much, much sooner than I anticipated. And that's how I ended up at Our New Beginnings. Not that I knew anything about it. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know Carole Pope. I didn't know anything. I just elected to go to treatment, to be out to help my daughter.
And that was it. You said that you had on the wrong side of the law before. That moment with your daughter was the moment you decided to put your name on that list.
Yeah, that was the moment, because I really didn't believe that because I had those moments before where I was asked, do you want to go to treatment? Do you want to go to treatment? And it was always no, because I was in and out of the county jail in Inverness, 7 or 8, 9 times doing my addiction. So
where is Inverness?
Inverness is out in northeast Portland, like off of 122nd, out in that area.
So do you have memories of, they told you, Kraft, roll up, going to treatment? Do you have memories of that journey to your treatment center?
I just remember kind of saying to myself, oh boy, I'm really going, and I just remember I just wanted to be out there with my daughter. I needed to do something to help my daughter, to be there for her, because I had a chance over those 6 days in the hole to kind of take a look at my life. And at that time, I had been using alcohol and drugs for almost 18 years. And look at the damage that I've done to myself, my children, my family. And it's like, okay, let's give this a try. Let's see what comes of this. But it was mainly about my daughter. She's the reason I started the process. Mm-hmm.
Had you tried to go clean and sober at any time before?
I tried to stop using on a consistent basis a couple times before by going into Woodland Park and trying to detox. And it was an old program where you go into detox. And I ended up going in there a couple times, but they seemed like they gave me more drugs than I had ever had trying to detox than I had when I was in the streets. So it didn't really work. I got out and immediately started using again. So the only clean time I ever had was when I went to jail, stayed there for a while. And I remember between the years of 1980 and 1985, I didn't use heroin, but I drank. I used crack cocaine, that kind of thing. And I thought I was clean because I didn't do heroin, my drug of choice. Because, drinking is a beverage, right? And then probably about in 84, 85, I started to experiment with crack. And yeah, that kind of brought me to my knees. But then I came back. I was living in Texas at the time. I went to Texas between 80 and 85, following my last two children's father. Went down there with him and set up house for about 5 years. And we drank. And then eventually, toward the end, we started doing crack cocaine. And I ended up coming back to Portland. And within a month, I was back using heroin again. So
what year was it when you signed up to get treatment? And
89.
That was 89.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know more of your memories of, if you don't remember the journey to it seems like it was more of a psychological journey. Like, I made a decision, I'm doing this, I'm on this road.
Yeah.
Do you have memories of the physical journey at all?
Just feeling scared because I had never did anything like that before. Going to a place to live, and just not even understanding any of the process at all. I had never been to outpatient treatment. I had never done any kind of treatment before. So just fear, and kind of in the back of my mind, always thinking, I'm just going to do this for just right now to get everything back in order again. Not that it was going to last for 25 years.
When you are going to Our New Beginnings, did they give you? Did you so you were inpatient? Is that right?
I lived there with 15 other women.
They tell you how long you were going to live there? Did they give you any information?
I don't remember. I just remember it being based on you and your participation in the program. They didn't say you'll be here for this long or that long. It was pretty much individualized treatment is what they call it now, because everybody got out at different times and did different things. So yeah, no, I don't remember them saying any of that, but except for, you just have to do A, B, C, D, and E while you're here.
So what were those?
It was like I needed to do the groups that were in-house. I remember not being able to, I don't remember somebody saying this, but my memory is that I wasn't allowed to really talk about anything because I really didn't have anything. I didn't know what to talk about. but it was like I was put in a room with newcomers. The newcomer room is what I call it. And I don't remember having conversations a lot with people that had been there for a while, or, I just remember sitting in groups and not saying anything. And I don't know if that's because I couldn't talk, but somewhere in my mind it told me I couldn't talk. But I had to go to groups. I also had to meet with my counselor whenever they told me to. I don't know how often that was, can't remember. Because I didn't have a job, I had to, when I stayed home, we had to clean up. The people that had a job got a chance to go out, but who didn't, we cleaned up the house. I remember not being okay with that, but doing it because it was part of the program. And then the other thing I remember is, as they said, that I had to see the mental health therapist once a week. It was part of the program. And those are the things that I remember them telling me that I had to do.
So you didn't like the chores, but how did you like the mental health therapist and then the group sessions, the group therapy sessions? Did you find those useful, helpful?
I don't know. I know that I had made a couple of acquaintances with a couple of girls that were in the newcomer room, and we kind of, would sit and chuckle and things like that. But my mind pretty much was not inside there. My thoughts were outside there. And that's probably why I don't remember a lot about what was going on there, because it was like, not that I wanted it to really sink in and make sense to me. It was that I needed to try to get back to my family. And I didn't really care for the chores, but we did it. It made the time pass during the day. The mental health therapist, I thought that was just some BS, because in my culture, in my family, you don't talk about what's going on in the family with other people. It's like what goes on at home stays at home. So that part was going to be difficult for me, and I just kind of rebelled against that piece. I remember that. I remember my first couple of sessions. I don't know how many times I met with her, maybe 2 or 3. I didn't talk. It was just like I had to be in there, and that was all I was going to do. Just sit here, because I don't talk about my stuff. And I remember after a couple of sessions, she started talking about some things that were personal to her, and maybe her journey and what she was doing there, and which kind of started a conversation more than anything, because she was a 50-year-old who was doing an internship from PSU in a social work program. And I thought, wow, she went back to school at such a late age. But she looked great. She looked really unique. I loved her gray, long ponytail, her hair, and these features. She was Jewish. And so I remember after a few sessions, just kind of start holding conversations, and it kind of broke the ice. And so it got to the point where I really looked forward to talking with her. And so I stayed in connection with her because she, upon her closing of being there, she told anyone that wanted to come see her when she got out that she would allow us to come see her once a week, absolutely free, for as long as we needed to. And it was on a Thursday. I remember that. And she picked one day of the week. If you can come see me on Thursday, I'll fit you in, and you can see me free for absolutely as long as you want. And I took her up on that offer, because I had started building a relationship with her, and because it was really helpful, because I didn't know how to deal with life on life terms without drinking and using, and I didn't know how to be a parent, and she just kind of had a lot of information for me, and very accepting, and a lot of similarities. And one of the things I really liked about her is that whenever I would get ready to leave her office, I would say, well, thank you for meeting with me. And she would say, no, thank you. And I would leave and I'd be going like, what is she thanking me for? You know, but I get it today. I get it because it was a sort of a, even though she was really helping me, the things that I brought to her helped her be a better therapist with other people, and also just kind of do some insight into herself and as a woman, those kind of things. And so I get it now, but I didn't get it then. So,
but you got it enough to go from not wanting to go to these sessions to seeing her for years after.
I saw her on and off. Probably the first 5 years was consistent, like every Thursday that I could get there, that I, possibly could. But then like the first 10 years, it started being like on and off when I would need her, like in a situation or a crisis or whatever, I would go back. But I always kept in touch with her. And so the first 10 years. And then after that, I haven't seen her anymore. She walked me through almost a 10-year relationship, and then it was over, and then that was done. And then I haven't seen her.
Do you remember her name?
Yes, Gray Wolf. Who can forget that name? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you remember from her story? You said that you guys had some similarities in your stories. Mm-hmm. Did she return to school to do social work at PSU, and then she was then put into her internship was at Her New Beginnings?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any memories of when you think of Our New Beginnings? Is she the figure that stands out the most to you?
Yeah, she is. And I'm my counselor, and I can't remember her name. For some reason, I want to say Sharon, but it's probably not that. But I had a counselor who was very accepting, very gentle with me because I didn't know anything about anything, who really believed me when I said, don't let me out of here until I get on that one drug because I need some insurance so that I don't go use heroin. It's called naltrexone. And that's when That's when I heard about it. They were saying about opiate users were starting to it was a medicated assisted treatment, and it blocks the opiates is what I had heard. And I thought, that's what I need, that right there. Because when I get out of here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to not use, because I loved using heroin. I loved it. So she was very kind and, like I said, very gentle with me. And but they kept me really, really busy. They kept me really, really busy because eventually I did get a job. But I had to go to groups. I had to go to NA meetings. I had to meet with my PO, the counselor, the therapist. I was having to go to work. And so I remember being so tired in a couple of the group meetings at the place and talking to my therapist, is that she went to her team and said that we need to take a little bit off of her plate because I think may do more damage than, helping her out. But honestly, it was something I'm glad, because I didn't have any direction of what to do. I didn't know how to be a productive member without using it. It had been so long that the structure really did help, but I was really tired. And so they kind of cut a couple of the home groups out that I needed to go to, and I didn't have to go to as many NA meetings, but other than that, I had to do everything else. So.
Did they help you at all getting a job? Was it facilitated through?
I can't remember if they did, but I think they pointed me in the direction of a temp service, and that's where I got a job, through a temp service. I had never done that before.
Before we go into the bigger ideas and experiences, I'm just curious I think you called it the newbie room, the new room, or
the newcomer room.
Newcomer room. Was that actually? Was it actually a newcomer room where everyone who was new had? Mm-hmm. It was actually.
Yeah, it was like about at least 4 beds in there. Yeah.
So then I'm curious. Any memories you have of the physical space of Our New Beginnings? Do you have any memories of colors, building, location?
I know the Northwest. It was in Northwest. It was a huge house. Lots of rooms. Can't remember how many rooms, but lots of rooms. It was a basement. Remember that? Remember cleaning up the basement and organizing some things down there. I remember mopping floors. Lots of floors. I remember stairs. I think that my room was upstairs. Because you come in the door, I think we had to go upstairs. I also remember there was a lady there, and I don't remember what her name was, but she could really cook. She cooked really good pies and stuff. I do remember that. She made a pie one time that tasted like something else that I grew up on, but it wasn't that, and it was so similar. I was shocked. I could not believe it, because I remember a lot of the food I wasn't really fond of there, but I loved her pies. I think rutabaga and some other stuff she would make that it's like I had never ever tried ever. That just wasn't part of what I grew up with, but I remember that part.
Do you pay memory of the energy of the place in the sense of, was it buzzing with people? Was it more of a home that was quieter? I mean, it seems like there's
No, it was always something going on there. It was always people in and out. Because, I mean, people got a chance to go out on different passes and come back, and they went to work and came back, and it just, I remember the main floor always having just people in it all the time. Counselors, people walking around. But the energy was it wasn't toxic. It was they wanted everybody to be like a family kind of a atmosphere where everybody was, striving to get clean and sober and stay clean and sober. So it was a pretty nurturing environment.
Yeah, that's my next question is, you had said that you had spent time in and out of jail doing things. You had not lasting success here and there with using or not using. I know you had the motivation of what had happened to your daughter, but is there anything else that, was there something about not doing what you do now for a living, have done for a few decades now? There's something about Our New Beginnings where I know that when we had spoken last, you said that your leaving date for Our New Beginnings is your clean date.
Right.
So was there something about that program? I'm asking it more from the purview of today, where you've had, what is that, like 25, 30
It's 25 years
of
clean time.
And working in the field.
I've worked in the field for probably 20 of those years, yeah.
So from that purview of looking back to the time of what you do remember, of what they did that stands out in any way, was different from things you see today?
I have to say, I didn't leave there thinking I wanted to work in this field. That was not anything that was, that wasn't a goal or anything. I mean, when I left treatment, I went back to live with my mom, and I started doing what people in recovery, early recovery, do, which was showing up to NA meetings and going to the NA functions, dances, and this, that, and the other, and I went to conventions, that kind of thing, and just meeting other people that were clean, and at the same time of having that particular part of my life be new and exciting, I was a little bored because it was different. So I started playing bingo a lot. It started like one day a week, and then it ended up being 4 and 5 times a week, and it was just ridiculous. And with that, I had to end up doing therapy with my daughter. So not only was I doing my own therapy, I was showing up with her to start her therapy. And having to deal with those emotions in that situation, not ever having been there before, not knowing how to be present, and what to do with my daughter. And so I had a lot of different emotions up and down, in and out. I was working. I kept a job. I actually got hired on permanent at the place that I got the temp job out there at Tektronix in Beaverton. Yeah. But yeah, so it was a lot of different emotions, and I had no idea of what job I was gonna get. Like not what job, but what direction of what I was going to do with my life. It was just, I guess I'll just get up and go to work out here every day and show up for all these things, because I was still on probation and I still had to pay fines. I still had to give UAs. So I was being monitored very, very well, but I still had a lot of real life stuff going on, and I don't think I knew I wanted to work in the field until I actually got a job at what they used to be called Mainstream Youth Program over on Belmont. I went back to school, and I ended up getting an administrative job, like a receptionist and administrative coordinator job, working in the office with youth who were coming to outpatient treatment. And then that morphed into getting a job at DePaul Residential for Youth in '97 as a receptionist, and worked there for the next 10 years. And my last job there, I was the program manager. So I evolved there. And I had like 4 or 5 different jobs through the 10 years. But I mean, people had to tell me that they thought I'd be good at this, or I had a good connection with people, or you can talk to youth really well and parents really respect you and you really make them feel like it's okay, I had to hear that from other people, because becoming a counselor or a therapist, I kept thinking, oh my God, no, because do no harm. I got too much baggage and too much craziness going on of my own. I'm too broken to be able to help other people. I just want to be around it. So let me stay in the office. Let me just talk to people on the phone, do the coordinating, and you guys go do the other hard work. I'll do this. But it didn't work out that way.
Did your time with Grey Wolf have any influence with you in that? You said that the way that the kind of wall came down between you, she just started talking to you, and you realized you had these commonalities. Mm-hmm. But you never thought to her, like you never looked at her and thought, oh, why are you doing this? You're damaged.
Right.
So did you feel like when you started morphing more into that role, did you ever have any conscious thinking of Grey Wolf in your time?
Absolutely. It was like, to me at that time, and I don't want to get too, woo-woo, spiritual kind of thing, but it felt like she was the potter and I was the clay that were being molded, and so, because I didn't know how to really approach things, do things, like I said, be a parent, be a person without drinking and using. It's like, how do you do this without crime? And how do you do this without, and she walked me through so many things. I actually did some of my first step work there in the chair or on the couch, just kind of, you telling my inventory, talking about my family, talking about what I'm going through, and her being able to let me know that I was a good person and that I had a lot of potential, that I was intelligent, and that I was, I could do some great things if given the opportunity. That she even told me one time that she didn't think I was an addict. I just think you got hooked up with the wrong people. boy, she told me that, and I was like, well, wait a minute, I don't have to do all this stuff then if I, you know. But quickly, I talked to my sponsor about it, and she said, let's talk. And so she pointed out to me some things that, okay, so now I understand that I keep my sponsorship with you working, and I keep my therapist over here. I cannot mix them both together. So I just kind of thought, okay, well, she you know, she was just trying to help and just trying to. So yeah, she really was a big influence and a big help for me coming together as a person. And even though I didn't, my upbringing wasn't hard. I mean, I had two parents. I never remember wanting for anything, never hungry. I wasn't molested. I was a good student. I loved, you know, sports. And my two older brothers, I tried to do whatever they did. I'm such a tomboy. But I did choose badly when I was about 14 or 15, because my family, when we moved to Oregon, it just seemed like things changed. Our dynamic of our family changed, and I found myself being by myself more, with my mother working, father working, my brother's gone, and so I found a boy, and I liked him, and he, in order to be with him, I had to do certain things, you know, start smoking weed and doing all those things, and I became pregnant, and so I had my first daughter at 16. But that life right there, starting off there, kind of took me places that, you know, ended up craziness, and by the time I was 18, I was shooting heroin. It was just, you know, some people think, oh, your home life was great and your family was great, and well, it doesn't always fit the, you know, the stereotype. So yeah, Gray did have a great influence on me, encouraging me to, you know, help me with school, and I remember her even advocating for me to not have to do job search so that I could go to school and go to therapy and, you know, be habilitated or rehabilitated, and that worked. And so I was able to go to school without having to work when I got my AA degree, and she was a big part of that.
I know on your signature there's lots of initials after, so what give me your educational journey, because
so my partner in 1990 encouraged me to go back to school because I was working in a screen printing job. I had quit the other one out there, and I worked closer and got a screen printing job, but it was hurting my back and my chest and these big huge frames and things. And so, why not go back to school? You're so smart, you can do this, you can do that. And here I am. It's like been 20 years since I got out of high school, so I'm like, being there with all those 18, 19-year-olds, that's gonna be feeling weird. But anyway, I took the challenge, and Gray supported me, and I went back to school, and I ended up getting my associate's degree in administrative assistant with office management emphasis. I did not want to do the A&D program. Just admit I want to work in the office, and so I walked with that, and I got that degree, I think, in 95. So I'm working, and I had a boss at the DePaul Youth who said, you need to be working with people. You have such a great disposition with people. You make people feel at ease. You just don't know what you do for these parents of these children that come in. So would you mind me helping you apply for scholarship for this, for that, you know, to become a counselor? And I was so afraid, but I said yes. So I got a couple different scholarships to go to school back at PCC in the alcohol and drug program, and then I also I got a scholarship for the African American alcohol and drug counseling program back then. And so did all of those things, and so by the year 2000, I became an alcohol and drug counselor, got my first CADC 1. And so I started quickly progressing in the field. You know, I became the counselor, then the lead counselor. And we realized that even though I had tons of experience and I could do a lot of things, I didn't have any other credentials that really mattered. So I decided to go back to school a few years later. So I took a huge long break. I think it was 2002. Yeah, it's like 2 years after I got my CADC. 2002, I went to Concordia University for my bachelor's. I think it was 2002. Because I had to go part-time because I was working full-time. And so that degree took me 4 years to get. I had instructors saying, "You still here?" I was like, "Yeah, still trying to get it." I had to take a break in there as well because at one time I had to stop and just drop out totally because I had 2 of my oldest daughters got sick at the same time on the same day in 2 different hospitals. It was amazing and it was crazy, and I couldn't go to school. I couldn't do anything but visit them back and forth for a while, and so I took a little break there. But then I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in social work in 2006 at Concordia. And then, okay, fine, I think I'm good, right? And then I had a situation that happened at DePaul Youth where I was given an ultimatum. Either I take another position there or the program manager position was no longer available. They wanted to do some reorg while I was on vacation. I came back to this. But anyway, I chose not to stay there because I feel like I've given you 10 years of my life and I couldn't be in on the decision and the discussion. I come back to work and then you've made a decision. I stood on faith, walked out without a job in 2007, and I decided a couple of months later I'm going to apply for the master's program because I got something to say, okay? I still got some stuff to do. So I ended up getting a job over at LifeWorks Northwest running this, it was a Multnomah County contract working with African American gang affiliated boys. And I ran that for about 3 years, but I was also going to school at PSU. And so I ended up getting my degree finally in 2011. Got my master's degree. Yeah. But somewhere in there I got my CADC 2 as well, the supervisor part. I can't remember when I got that. But then just recently, in last November, I was able to obtain my CADC 3, so master's level clinician in addiction. And that's why you see all those letters. And another set of those letters is I'm on hiatus right now from it, but I am being supervised to get my licensure, my LCSW, licensed clinical social worker. That's why you see the clinical social work associate there. I'm kind of on hiatus right there for a minute, but yeah, I'm in the process of that as well.
Impressive. Just thinking of your story of, something kind of tragic happens in your family and you're sitting in the hole, and then, look where you are, what you've done. I'm curious, when you physically, you didn't, clearly it sounds like for your Army beginning stay, you were no longer inpatient once they were like, you don't need to be here, or, and then you get out. Did you feel at that moment in time, I know you said you didn't think you were going to go into work in this field at all. Did you think you were going to stay clean?
No. And there's a huge story I have to tell you that happened in our new beginnings. And this may get edited, it may not. But I didn't think I was going to stay clean. I thought I'd give it about a year after I got out. But while I was there, I did use drugs while I was in treatment. And this is what happened. And it's just a crazy story. So I'm doing treatment, I'm doing well, but I got this boyfriend who's using out here. And so he's in touch with me and I'm in touch with him, and I know he's using every day, and here I am trying to be clean, be with my daughter. So something something happened one day where I was going to be done with treatment. And it's the same day that I got my very first pass, because I said, don't let me out until I get on this drug. So my very first pass, 30 days in, was to the clinic to get the pill. So I had my whole day planned out. Okay, screw treatment. I'm not coming back. I'm going to go over here and get my pill, whatever. I'm going to go meet my boyfriend. We're going to use, and I'm just done with this whole thing. This is garbage. So no, I didn't think I was going to be clean. So I did all of those things. I left the place. I left New Beginnings, went to the clinic. They gave me the pill, the naltrexone pill. I was getting ready to leave, and they wouldn't let me leave because I thought if I can get to the drugs before it starts working, I can still feel it. But they made me sit there for about half an hour, because that's one of the things you have to make sure there's no opiates in your system. Because if there is, you take it, you'll go into withdrawal. So they had to watch me to make sure I didn't have any opiates in my system. So I'll sit there and I'm waiting. I'm going like, but surely still, it's not going to take effect that quick. So they let me go. I get on the bus. I come to Northeast Portland. I meet my boyfriend. He gives me the drugs. I slam the drugs, and I'm still waiting to feel it. It worked. It blocked the opiate just that quick. I was so irate. I was angry because I thought they gave me some bunk or whatever. It's like everybody's nodding but me. I know that stuff is not working that quick, and so I was so angry. I just kind of left there. And it was a lot going on in my family at that time too, because like I said, I was trying to support my daughter. My mother was taking care of my daughter. Actually, two of my daughters she was taking care of. The other one I had already sent to Texas to be with her dad. That particular day, my mom and dad were going to drive, because they took trips every other year to Oklahoma, driving. But they were going to go that same day that I got out to go, and they were going to take my baby daughter with them, right? So I was in contact with them, and that was pretty emotional, right? But then now I'm mad because I didn't feel the drugs. And I'm also angry because when I go back to our New Beginnings, if I go back, they're going to do a UA, and it's going to be in my system, and I didn't even feel it. But maybe I just don't go back. But then if I don't go back, where am I going to go? Because my family's leaving. That's the only place I have to go. So I can't go back there because they're leaving today. I don't want to go back and be with him because he gave me some bunk, I think, right? And then it's like, no, maybe the pill really worked. But do you want to do that, or do you want to take a chance on going back to treatment and doing what you're supposed to be doing? And so I was out for most of the day making that decision. And through everything, I don't know what actually happened that made the decision for me, but I went back to our New Beginnings, and I was all prepared for them to do a UA and for me to explain to them what I did. And that's why I'm here, because I'm an addict, right? They never did a UA. For one, I didn't look loaded, and I don't know, they just didn't do a UA, because they usually do UA when you go out and come back in. So they never knew. They never knew that I tried to use that. And so I can't remember the date that happened. And so here I am in recovery. I get out on September 5th, but I'm still keeping the same clean date as when I first turned myself in, which was June 30th. I turned myself into jail, and that's the clean date that I was using all this time. So I'm out of treatment, and I'm doing all this recovery stuff and blah, blah, blah. And one day, about 2 years into my recovery, I have a sponsee, I'm in a relationship. We're driving from Eugene, a convention, a Narcotics Anonymous convention in Eugene. And something at that convention convicted me about honesty, about something happened. And so I thought, okay, I'm in the car with my sponsee and my partner, and I say, hey guys, I gotta share this with you. This is what happened to me when I was in treatment. And I'm keeping the same clean date because I didn't feel it, right? You think I should change my clean date? And they said, duh. guess you should change your clean date. So I couldn't remember what date it was. So I just chose the date I got out, which was 9/5/89. That's the day I got out of Our New Beginning. So that's my clean date. And it's because all that stuff happened. Nobody knows it happened. You're the first one I've told outside of my little circle and people that I share with. I mean, it's part of my story now because it's about being honest and really, owning, taking responsibility for your actions and things like that. And so, so that's why I chose 9/5/1989 as my clean date. And I don't remember what your question was, but that was a long answer.
I'm not even sure, but
okay.
The thing I wanted to ask though was, what were the tools? I mean, there's what happened with your daughter is a very strong catalyst for a change. But if you were in your early 30s, early to mid 30s, and that change hadn't happened before. So I'm trying to figure out what were the particular tools. Was there something? Was it just the influence of Grey Wolf? Was there a camaraderie? Was there a just the support network at Our New Beginnings that helped, or do you not attribute that at all? Or
well, I attribute a lot to Our New Beginnings because it was the first time that I had ever just made a conscious decision to stay clean. I mean, for any length of time. I mean, in that way. And so once I went through New Beginnings and graduated and got all that stuff, and I got out, it appeared that my life was starting to get better. And without Our New Beginnings, I know that I don't know how that would have happened. Meeting Gray and meeting with her weekly, and then kind of having some of the same. I seen Karen and a few other people in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous and around, and that kind of helped as well. But yeah, I don't remember any particular tools. I just remember I'm going to stay clean for a while, for maybe a year, get these people off my back, get the PO off my back, get my family back in order, and then I'll probably figure out how to use every now and then. But all of those things that I had to do as a result of going to treatment, even when I got out, I was being monitored. I had to go to meetings, I had to go to the PO, I had to pay my fines, those kind of things I still had to do. And so all of that kind of kept me on the kind of straight and narrow so that I don't end up back in jail and that kind of thing. But then going to therapy with my daughter every week, that was really hard. And then working with her and Gray helping me to be there and be present and what to say when she wakes up in the middle of the night screaming and we sitting on the couch talking about what happened to her, those kind of things, just being there, those kind of things I had to just kind of learn during that. But yeah, I think that was like a springboard for me, even though I messed up in the middle there.
When you were out being monitored, was that were you outpatient for Our New Beginnings, or that the Department of Corrections doing that?
I had to come over there, I think, for a while to see them when I got out.
Our New Beginnings.
Yeah, just maybe once a week or something, or being monitored, because I know that they were still a part of what I was doing for a bit. I don't remember how long. That's the part that's really vague. I don't remember.
Well, I'm curious, for a lot of people, the founder, head of Our New Beginnings, Carole Pope, is a very strong figure in their narrative. Do you have memories of Carole Pope at all?
Very little. I don't remember having a lot of interaction with her. Like I said, it was more the staff and the clients that I had the interaction with. I remember her being in the place because I just have vague memories of, this person who was Carole Pope, you know, in and out and that kind of thing. I don't remember conversations, anything that stood out for me, for her. But her name has resonated, you know, with me, and because of our New Beginnings, and the people that knew her personally associate, you know, our New Beginnings with her. And so I kind of feel like I'm part of that, even though I don't have that personal relation. I didn't have a personal relationship with her because, like I said, I came from Inverness. I think some of them were even in the penitentiary with Carole at one time, and they really had a strong bond. But no, I just remember her being, she was a pretty strong presence. And you knew who she was when she came in. You knew she owned the joint, that kind of thing. But, you know, I just know of her heart and of her hard work, and what she wanted to do. That's it.
Right, your graduation date was in September, early September. I was trying to think if there was any holidays that happened while you were there, because I hear that our New Beginnings was a very, that infamous holiday parties. But I'm trying to think. I don't think there really wasn't any, because you're there in the summer.
No, I was.
Was there barbecues?
I don't remember. I don't remember, because I think I came in after the 4th of July. I think I was locked up, and I left maybe around, maybe right around Labor Day or something around. So no, I don't remember.
For your memories of the place, were both was it for the people who were living in there, the outpatient people who you saw milling about, and the staff and counselors, was it all very multicultural, like, group of people? Was it mostly women? Were there men?
No men, all women, and mostly white people. I think there was oh my God, I can't remember what nationality she was. Her name was Michelle, but she wasn't, I can't remember. She had kind of an olive skin, dark hair. What nationality she was, but I don't remember it being very diverse. But that's just my memory, which is not great. Okay, so I'm telling you, it's like a blur. My memory is so bad these days about what happened way back then. I really do mimic that whole "this is your brain on drugs" thing. I do. It's not funny, but it's the truth.
That's it. I mean, your email signature, we talked about this earlier, but you have the email signature, the famous Maya Angelou quote of, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Absolutely. That rings so true for me because of the work that I do and the work I've done over the years. People remember me in certain situations, and I don't remember them, just since I've been working in this field. But it was something I said, or something that I did, or it was just the relationship that we had, that people, they see me and they go like, oh, hey, that kind of thing, or they want to give me a hug, or a parent telling me how much that I helped them with their child. And so what I get from that is that if I'm building relationships and I'm genuine and I really do, I really am intentional about building that relationship, then it's just a win-win situation. And I like I say, there's people that come up to me and say, do you remember? And sometimes I get a little worried because I don't know if it was in my addiction or if it was since I've been clean, that they have these memories of me. When they start that, girl, do you remember? I'd be like, oh God, what? because I'm telling you, my brain is it's on overload. I've got so much data in here that sometimes I just can't pull what I want to pull out. But I really do want to show compassion, and I want to show empathy for people, and the people that I work with in this field, and the people that struggle every day, because I've been there and know what that feels like. The stigma and the shame and the guilt that they experience. I really know what that feels like, and to be in relationship with someone and let them know that it's okay, that you're okay, and that it's, hey, there's still a lot of good stuff there, and that's what you did, not who you are, those kind of things. And so when I do that, I think people feel a certain way. They kind of get a little bit of something from me, but I really do believe that from my soul. So I do that every day. And I do it in my personal life, and I do it in my professional life.
For Our New Beginnings, you said that you have this data overload and sometimes it's hard to pull, so I'm not asking you any facts, figures, recalling names, but if I just asked you how it made you feel, what would you say?
I'd say it made me feel accepted and worthy. Yeah.
We're at the very end. I'm curious. It seems so. I know you were still seeing Grey Wolf after you left. You graduated in '89. Did Art of Beginnings was cut a few years later. Do you have any memory of any? Did you have any kind of connection to it once?
No. After I left, I had no connection to it. I would hear Carole's name, and I heard that there was a struggle about keeping it open, and that it might be shutting down. And then I heard it was shut down, and then next thing I know, it was like her health was bad, and then that she passed. And so yeah, I didn't have any connections after I left, except to Grey.
But you don't know if she's still local.
I don't know if she's still local. I haven't. I think I think I may have got a card from her. Maybe. Oh my goodness. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe, or something. Or I may have sent her a card one time. But she has this beautiful, big, beautiful house over off of Hawthorne. I think it's Raymond Street, over in that area. Yeah, I don't know if she's around or what.
Well, I'll try to find out.
Will you?
Yeah, I will.
That'd be awesome.
And then looking back at just from the work you do now, I know it sounds like you work with different populations.
Yeah.
But do you think that there is a program? Do you think a program like Our New Beginnings is still needed and necessary today?
Absolutely, especially for women. Yeah, there's just not. I mean, working here at the detox facility, we take in probably 2,400 people annually here. And we take them in, we get them all dressed up, get them to feeling good, but there's nowhere to refer them to. There's nowhere for them to land in the back. There's just not enough treatment for people, especially women. There's 2 shelters for women. There's only a couple of women residential programs, and both of them you have to have babies, mostly 2 or 3 of them. There's just not a place like that anymore, which would be so fantastic, because I love the concept of that therapeutic community, and everyone helping each other and pitching in and teaching each other different skills and those kind of things. And there's just not enough of that. I don't even think there's the Oxford homes. They're doing some of that stuff, but that's on a different level. That's on a different it's not anything like Carole's place was. So I absolutely think there needs to be more.
Do you have any final comments, memories, or the beginnings, something you want to say about your work today?
Well, no, I think if I could say anything about working with this population of people, I guess I would say that we need more places for women, but we also need more culturally specific, more diverse treatment arenas. There is several treatment facilities around. They're not very diverse. I'm finding a huge disparity with my people, African Americans, of being able to access getting the treatment and be successful in treatment. Our numbers are very low for graduation rates and seeking treatment. And so if I could just put a plug out there, put something on somebody's mind, that if you are going to create a place for people to get well and to people to, to be successful, that it can't be one size fits all. Culture matters. It matters that you have a diverse staff that accepts all people and as they are, and let them bring who they are and not try to fit them all in one box. And that's what I would say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.